The Worm Ouroboros by E.R. Eddison. Narrated by Jez Jameson. True Thomas lay on Huntly bank, a furley he spied wi' his eye, and there he saw a lady bright come riding down by the eldon tree. Her skirt was o' the grass-green silk, her mantle o' the velvet fine. At ilka tet of her horse's mane hung 50 siller bells and 9. True Thomas he pulled off his cap, and louted low down on his knee. Hail to thee, Queen Mary of Heaven, for thy peer on earth could never be. Oh no, Thomas, she says, that name does not belong to me. I'm but the Queen of fair Elfland, that am hither come to visit thee. Harp and carp, Thomas, she says, harp and carp along with me, and if ye dare to kiss my lips, sure of your body I will be. Betide me weal, betide me woe, that weird shall never daunten me. Sin he has kissed her rosy lips, all underneath the eldon tree. Thomas the Rhymer. The Induction. There was a man named Lessingham dwelt in an old low house in Wastdale, set in a grey old garden where yew trees flourished that had seen Vikings in Copeland in their seedling time. Lily and rose and larkspur bloomed in the borders, and begonias with blossoms big as saucers, red and white and pink and lemon colour, in the beds before the porch. Climbing roses, honeysuckle, clematis, and the scarlet flame flower scrambled up the walls. Thick woods were on every side without the garden, with a gap north-eastward opening on the desolate lake and the great fells beyond it. Gable, rearing its crag-bound head against the sky from behind the straight, clean outline of the screes. Cool, long shadows stole across the tennis lawn. The air was golden. Doves murmured in the trees. 2 chaffinches played on the near post of the net. A little water wagtail scurried along the path. A French window stood open to the garden, showing darkly a dining-room panelled with old oak, its Jacobean table bright with flowers and silver and cut glass and Wedgwood dishes heaped with fruit, greengages, peaches, and green muscat grapes. Lessingham lay back in a hammock chair, watching through the blue smoke of an after-dinner cigar the warm light on the Gloire de Dijon roses that clustered about the bedroom window overhead. He had her hand in his. This was their house. "Should we finish that chapter of Niall?" she said. She took the heavy volume with its faded green cover and read, "He went out on the night of the Lord's day, when 9 weeks were still to winter. He heard a great crash, so that he thought both heaven and earth shook. Then he looked into the west end, and he thought he saw thereabouts a ring of fiery hue, and within the ring a man on a grey horse. He passed quickly by him, and rode hard. He had a flaming firebrand in his hand, and he rode so close to him that he could see him plainly. He was black as pitch, and he sung this song with a mighty voice. Here I ride, swift steed, his flank flecked with rime. Rain from his mane drips, horse mighty for harm. Flames flare at each end, gall glows in the midst. So fares it with Flossie's reds as this flaming brand flies. And so fares it with Flossie's reds as this flaming brand flies. Then he thought he hurled the firebrand east towards the fells before him, and such a blaze of fire leapt up to meet it that he could not see the fells for the blaze. It seemed as though that man rode east among the flames, and vanished there. After that he went to his bed, and was senseless for a long time, but at last he came to himself. He bore in mind all that had happened, and told his father, but he bade him tell it to Hjalti Skeggi's son. So he went and told Hjalti, but he said he had seen the wolf's ride, and that comes ever before great tidings. They were silent a while. Then Lessingham said suddenly, "Do you mind if we sleep in the east wing tonight?" "What, in the lotus room?" "Yes." "I'm too much of a lazybones tonight, dear," she answered. "Do you mind if I go alone, then? I shall be back to breakfast. I like my lady with me. Still, we can go again when next moon wanes. My pet is not frightened, is she?" "No," she said, laughing, but her eyes were a little big. Her fingers played with his watch-chain. "I'd rather," she said presently, "you went later on and took me. All this is so odd still, the house and that, and I love it so. And after all, it is a long way and several years too sometimes in the lotus room, even though it is all over next morning. I'd rather we went together. If anything happened then, well, we'd both be done in, and it wouldn't matter so much, would it?" "Both be what?" said Lessingham. "I'm afraid your language is not all that might be wished." "Well, you taught me," said she, and they laughed. They sat there till the shadows crept over the lawn and up the trees, and the high rocks of the mountain shoulder beyond burned red in the evening rays. He said, "If you like to stroll a bit away up the fell side, Mercury is visible tonight. We might get a glimpse of him just after sunset." A little later, standing on the open hillside below the hawking bats, they watched for the dim planet that showed at last, low, down in the west, between the sunset and the dark. He said, "It is as if Mercury had a finger on me tonight, Mary. It's no good my trying to sleep tonight, except in the lotus room." Her arm tightened in his. "Mercury," she said. "It is another world. It is too far." But he laughed and said, "Nothing is too far." They turned back as the shadows deepened. As they stood in the dark of the arched gate leading from the open fell into the garden, the soft, clear notes of a spinet sounded from the house. She put up a finger. "Hark," she said, "your daughter playing Les Barricades." They stood listening. "She loves playing," he whispered. "I'm glad we taught her to play." Presently he whispered again, "Les Barricades Mystérieuses." What inspired Couperin with that enchanted name? And only you and I know what it really means. Les Barricades Mystérieuses. That night Lessingham lay alone in the lotus room. Its casements opened eastwards on the sleeping woods and the sleeping bare slopes of Ilgit Head. He slept soft and deep, for that was the house of post-meridian and the house of peace. In the deep and dead time of the night, when the waning moon peered over the mountain shoulder, he woke suddenly. The silver beam shone through the open window on a form perched at the foot of the bed. A little bird, black, round-headed, short-beaked, with long, sharp wings, and eyes like two stars shining. It spoke and said, "Time is." So Lessingham got up and muffled himself in a great cloak that lay on a chair beside the bed. He said, "I am ready, my little martlet." For that was the house of Heart's Desire. Surely the martlet's eyes filled all the room with starlight. It was an old room with lotuses carved on the panels and on the bed and chairs and roof beams, and in the glamour the carved flowers swayed like water lilies in a lazy stream. He went to the window, and the little martlet sat on his shoulder. A chariot coloured like the halo about the moon waited by the window, poised in air. harnessed to a strange steed. A horse, it seemed, but winged like an eagle, and its forelegs feathered and armed with eagle's claws instead of hooves. He entered the chariot, and that little martlet sat on his knee. With a whir of wings, the wild courser sprang skyward. The night about them was like a tumult of bubbles about a diver's ears, diving in a deep pool under a smooth, steep rock in a mountain cataract. Time was swallowed up with speed. The world reeled, and it was but as the space between two deep breaths till that strange courser spread wide his rainbow wings and slanted down the night over a great island that slumbered on a slumbering sea, with lesser isles about it, a country of rock mountains and hill pastures and many waters, all a-glimmer in the moonshine. They landed within a gate crowned with golden lions. Lessingham came down from the chariot, and the little black martlet circled about his head, showing him a yew avenue leading from the gates. As in a dream, he followed her.